backlash after the Paris attacks has been directed at Syrian refugees, and it's gotten very ugly, especially in the halls of power in the democratic West. In the last hour, the United States House of Representatives has passed a bill to boost security screenings and to suspend the program to admit Syrian refugees. Now, just under 2,000 refugees have been accepted from Syria since 2012. President Obama has promised to take 10,000 more in the next year. But 31 U.S. governors have vowed to resist any Syrian refugees being resettled in their state. I spoke to Congressman Luis Gutiérrez just before the bill was passed, a Democrat from Illinois. He fully expected this outcome when I spoke to him in Washington. Congressman Gutiérrez, welcome to the program.
Pleasure to be with you, Christiane.
Congressman, you've just come from a vote in the House. There is also going to be a vote by Congressman Ryan, the Speaker, to ask for a pause in President Obama's resettlement refugee program. What do you expect? How will that vote go, and what is the implications of it?
Well, first of all, I don't expect it to go well. I expect those who want to use the carnage and the human tragedy, the terrorism, the loss of life in Paris, France, to use this as a measure against immigrants, against refugees, and to destroy a very successful refugee resettlement program, which has worked for decades here in the United States. I think they want to use this crisis and this act of terrorism to stop immigration and all kinds of immigration, legal and other immigration to the United States of America. So I think they're going to be successful, unfortunately. At least that's my sense, Christiane, from talking to members.
Do you think their aim will work to just stop immigration and stop the current debate in the United States?
No, because it goes centrally against who we are. Here in America, during the last few days, the newscasts have been in such solidarity with the people of France, and particularly those in Paris. And now I hope we will continue to be in solidarity with them. You know, they sent us the Statue of Liberty, and now we must have the courage to stand by that wonderful gift and to continue to be a beacon of hope for everyone. I remember reading in the history books that when the Irish came in the 1800s, they said, oh, they need not come here. They're dangerous. They're not white Anglo-Saxon Protestants. They're Catholics, and their only allegiance is to the Pope. They were wrong, as they're wrong about Muslims that are fleeing the Assad regime, Muslims that are fleeing ISIS. Certainly in America, and in America's hearts, there is a place for children, there's a place for women fleeing murder and rape and the savagery of the situation in Syria today. There must be a place in America. I am sure we will return to it.
You, of course, mentioned the Statue of Liberty and, of course, the famous words of Emma Lazarus, bring me your huddled masses. Surely those Syrian refugees are the definition of those desperate huddled masses.
I can't think of any group of people who more clearly defines them. I want to say, though, there's a lot of hope in my state of Illinois. My governor, Governor Rauner, said, we're not going to allow any more Muslim refugees to come and resettle here. The very next day, a family of 5 Syrian Muslims came to my city and was welcomed. We will continue to welcome them, and there will be places in America, and in the end, I hope the president vetoes any legislation quickly, and that we come back to our senses here in the United States of America. We should stand like the people in Paris and the people in France who are saying, we will welcome 30,000 more Syrian refugees, because that who's Francis, they who have suffered so much. America should follow.
Congressman Gutierrez, you know, even in Europe, there is a hysteria that is making far-right groups more and more popular, all these anti-immigrant groups. And I will just read to you what a Democratic mayor in the United States has written, the mayor of Virginia, saying, I'm reminded that President Roosevelt felt compelled to sequester Japanese foreign nationals after Pearl Harbor. In other words, internment, and suggesting that that might be an option for President Obama now that there is this ISIS threat. Is there a hysteria abroad in the United States? I mean, the latest Bloomberg poll says that more than 50% of Americans agree with all those Republican governors who say, not in my backyard, not in my state.
You know, sadly and tragically, fear is a great motivator in politics. It's an unfortunate tool that is used from those who want to spread the seeds of bigotry, of ignorance, and of hatred. They've done it in the past. Fear. It's always fear of the stranger. Today it's fear of the Muslim. Remember, just last year, we had tens of thousands of children who were fleeing as refugees from Central America. And what did they say about them? That they were bringing the Ebola, as though they had transferred themselves to Africa, back to Central America, and now we're crossing into our border. Now we look back and we say how silly we were. The internment of the Japanese was a mistake and a stain on the reputation and the legacy of freedom that is the United States of America. Let's not repeat it again. This is a nation where most people say they are Christian. A Christian precept is to always welcome and protect the stranger.
And lastly, Congressman, America hasn't taken that many Syrian refugees, only about 2,000 so far, and promising maybe another 15,000 over a period of years, 10,000 this year alone. And also, the president is perhaps calling for more vetting. Others who say, yes, let the Syrians in, but let's vet them properly. You know, give me your comment on that. You know, Germany has taken in practically 100,000 and plans many 100,000 more.
Sure. Look, here's what they do. In order to fool us, they take the Syrian jihadist who went to France and caused damage there, and they say he is just like the tens of thousands, hundreds, millions of Syrian refugees. He wasn't a refugee. He was a terrorist. Certainly, I understand that there is fear. Fear is real. People see the carnage in Paris and they say, could it be me next? Could it be my neighborhood? Could it be my local restaurant next? So here's what I say to the American people. We have our intelligence community working, not 100%, 200, 300%. Those are patriots. They're not going to let somebody just willy-nilly come over here. They're going to make sure that women and children and the elderly and those that are in need and are verified as refugees allow an opportunity. Certainly in America, there has to be a place for a child that is about to be sold into slavery by ISIS, or a child that is about to be bombed or murdered or sent into starvation by Assad. There has to be a place in America for them.
An incredibly impassioned appeal. Representative Gutiérrez, thank you so much for joining me from Washington tonight.
Thank you.